On Sunday, yes Sunday, September 1st at 7:30 p.m. at Memorial Stadium, home of the Sooners, you have Boomer, you have the Cougs. It's Oklahoma and Houston, and we're previewing it right here on Lego on Fuego. What we have here, boys, is 2016 all over again. My Houston Cougars straight out of the American Athletic Conference and representing against the always overrated, constantly overhyped Oklahoma Sooners. Straight out of that weak Big 12 with terrible defenses. You know that ain't gonna ever beat an SEC team in the playoffs, Oklahoma Sooners. Or that team that needed overtime last season to beat Army. 28-21. Nice one, Boomer. You know what we did against Army in the Armed Forces Bowl? Well, I'm not sure you can count this high, but 70. We hung up 70 on them, and they only scored 14. That is a massive blowout. That's West Virginia over Clemson in the Orange Bowl years ago blowout. So what am I supposed to do? Kiss your butt over one win over a measly independent team? Am I supposed to apologize just because we weren't clicking on all cylinders in a showdown against the Black Knights? Did you ever stop to think that maybe they were just a little bit more amped to play us than you? Maybe, just maybe, they brought their A game against us, like the best they could possibly play. Maybe that has something to do with the score discrepancies, I don't know. Newsflash, dude, Army just wasn't that into you. Get over it. It's nothing personal, but since you just want to throw cordial right out the window, right out the gates, why don't you just sit down, grab a notepad, and listen carefully. Take some notes. Okay, Pumpkin? Your bunch was 8-5 last season. Mine, 12-2. With, I might add, losses to only Texas and Alabama. Now, I can't stand either of those two teams, but my point is, those aren't bad losses. You were 5-3 in your weak conference that I can only name because you just now said it just a little while ago, whereas we went 8-1 in the Big 12 and won the Big 12 championship game. You didn't even make it to yours. Your coach is Dana Holgorsen, who apparently doesn't mind downgrading because he started out as an Oklahoma State assistant, then went to West Virginia as their head coach, and now he's there in Houston. I'm starting to think he likes to torture himself because he pretty much goes to every school that OU can own. No exception here. We're about to take the Cougs to the woodshed. Your best running back going into this season, Patrick Carr, had 143 carries for just 868 yards in 2018. Now, a 6.07 yards per carry average is not that bad, but just 5 touchdowns to go along with that? What, did you guys not get near the end zone very often? Whereas we almost ended up with 2. Count them, 2 1,000-yard rushers last season. Kennedy Brooks went for 1,056 yards last season on just 119 carries. That's 8.9 yards per clip and 12 touchdowns. He is a home run hitter that can strike at any time. And Trey Sermon had 947 yards and 5.8 yards per clip. Our second best running back statistically had more yards than your number 1 guy. And that's not all. I'm just getting started. Well, hold on there now. I've let you blabber on long enough. It's my turn, and since you mentioned running backs already, I'll go ahead and mention our real strengths, our quarterback and our wide receivers against that, should I say, porous OU secondary? I mean, it was just awful last season. Probably the worst in college football bad. Please tell me how a defense that inept is going to stop our quarterback who threw for 2,982 yards last season, 36 touchdowns, and just 6 interceptions, with his longest pass going for 79 yards. He might even top that twice in this game. And who is it going to go to? How about Marquis Stephenson? Stephenson last season had 67 receptions for 947 yards and 9 touchdowns. He also averaged 14.13 yards per reception. Now that's not bad at all, but he's not even the true deep threat. We also tout Keith Corbin at the wide receiver 2 slot. He averaged 17.15 yards per reception and had 39 receptions for 669 yards and 10 touchdowns. 10! The guy just has a knack for finding pylon, and against Oklahoma's defense, well, he might as well just set up a tent. Maybe get some graham crackers, some Hershey's chocolate, some marshmallows, make some s'mores right underneath the campfire, because that's going to be his home for the duration of the game. I'm just kidding. I think he's only going to find pay dirt twice in the first half. What's that? I'm sorry, I wasn't listening to you. I'm still stuck on the whole Dana Holgorsen thing. Did you know that your prize coach went 2-5 in bowl games and was only 61-41 at West Virginia? That's not even in the same remote radius as Lincoln Riley. My man is an offensive genius. And yours is Tim McGraw in 4 Christmases. Let me give you a coach who does make a difference though. outside of Lincoln, of course. Alex Grinch, our new defensive coordinator. He was the old defensive coordinator out at Washington State years ago, and he did a better job there than anything we've seen in Norman as of recent. Him coming in this season and us bringing back a lot of experience from last year should be a shift in the right direction. Now I already know what you're going to say. Why would you want to return a defense that was that bad last year? My rebuttal to that is that the talent is definitely there. We've recruited very well on the defensive side of the ball. The coaching was not. And Houston's going to be the first ones to realize, live and in color, that coaching matters, because that defense is going to shape into form. Dude, there's no coaching that defense up. Trust me. And if there was, Alex Grinch wouldn't be the man for the job. Let me ask you this. Why did you only go back to the Washington State years? Why didn't you just mention that he was the co-defensive coordinator at Ohio State? Yeah, I'll tell you why. Because Ohio State's defense was absolutely miserable. One of the worst they've ever seen in Columbus. They couldn't get rid of him fast enough, and the only place that it made sense for him to go to next was an already established dumpster fire. That way he can go ahead and blame the circumstance that was already there and pre-existing before he arrived whenever he doesn't make change, because he doesn't have the ability to do so as a coach. There's your real answer. And I've gone in on the defense mostly, but there's other issues in Norman right now. Jalen Hurts literally can't hit the broadside of a barn. The last time we saw him in meaningful action, he stunk it up so bad against Georgia in the championship game that Nick Saban was forced to go to a true freshman as his quarterback in the championship game. And that's not the only time that Hurts did that. He did it the year before against Clemson when they actually lost because of him. Do you even remember that game? They were literally just rolling out, and Hurts was throwing the ball out of bounds? What was the game plan there? Hurts was so bad that I actually had to question Nick Saban as a head football coach, at least for that game. The answer is it's hard to make a good game plan under a quarterback that bad at throwing the football. So what? Do you think that he just magically changed his ways and knows how to throw a forward pass all of a sudden? I doubt it, and I especially doubt it when you're going up against our defense, led by Deontay Anderson at safety, with 72 tackles last season, 1 forced fumble, and 1 interception. He was a big part of Ole Miss's heralded recruiting class back in the day, and for good reason. The guy can ball. You better not lob up ducks up in his direction, I'll tell you that. And believe me, this ain't Oregon, but we're going to see some ducks, because Jalen's going to be under pressure all game long. Sure, we lost Ed Oliver, but we don't need Oliver to exploit that offensive line of yours. You guys lost 4 guys from that unit last season that played meaningful time. Sure, you have some guys who did get some experience last season, but the fact of the matter is that a lot of experience and depth went bye-bye. And that's not a good thing when your quarterback is a glorified running back. Not a good thing at all. What did you not understand earlier when I told you how great our running game is? Was. And why can't you just look at the tape and see that we're better than Houston at every facet of the game? Even defense. Every single one of them, but most notably the wide receiver position, where we return CeeDee Lamb. All he did last season was haul in 65 grabs for 1,158 yards and 17.8 yards per reception. And on top of that, we brought in 2 5-star receivers, Jaden Hazelwood and Theo Wiese. They should see playing time right away. So this Deontay Anderson girl you mentioned, or whatever her name is, won't be able to guard all 3 of those talents. Who else are you going to throw out there who actually can? Nobody. The answer is nobody. So sure, we lost the #1 draft pick in the NFL draft. And sure, we lost a lot of O-line depth and tenure. And yes, our defensive coordinator had a tough time at Ohio State, and so did our defense in 2018. I mean, all of these points are okay points, but they're just paper points that you and ESPN are talking about. We make our points on the field, and on the field last season we went 12-1 before we saw the playoffs, and we might just do that again this year. Actually, this year I think we're going to go 13-0 before we make the playoffs, and I don't think we're having an early exit this year, with victory #1 coming against you guys on September 1st. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have things to tend to. Oh yeah? What's that? Your excuse is when you realize that you've eaten crow and you have to come back here in front of all of Lego on Fuego's 360 plus subscribers. Thank you guys very much, by the way. You're the best. So, whoop, there it is. The Sooners and the Cougs broken down in a long-winded one. Whew, that was fun. All right, enough messing around. Who do you guys have? And of course, give me a score. I'll meet you down in the comment section to judge them because, you know, Lego on Fuego knows everything. I'm kidding. I know nothing. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter, where I'll be setting up an ESPN college football pick'em. Do you have what it takes to outpick me? Probably not, but you should give it a try. Always try your best. The Twitter handle is @LegoOnFuego. Once you get there, don't make fun of my Twitter game, okay? I'm a little bit older, I'm new to the game, and I'm sensitive, okay? So chill. I'll see you guys soon for the next video that will drop tomorrow at 7 a.m. LSU in Texas. The Week 2 battle that I just had to debut early. See you guys then.